Hi class, sorry I couldn't be here today. If you have any questions on any of these that we're going to go through, please ask someone in the class that maybe knows how to help. As always, it's Friday, so Friday Fives. Alright, to get started here, number one, find the geometric mean of 4 and 25. What we have to do here, it's 4 over x equals x over 25. We're going to cross multiply. X times x is not going to give me 2x, but it's going to give me x squared equals 4 times 25, which will give me 100. To solve, take the square root, so x is going to equal 10. So the geometric mean there of 4 and 25 is 10. Similar setup to our next problem here. It says find x in triangle ABC. Remember, this is where we got to be specific with our triangles. I'm going to go 4 over x equals x over 16. Again, cross multiply. When I cross multiply, 4 and 16 is going to give me 64. X times x is going to give me x squared. To solve, take the square root of both sides. So x will equal 8. So for any triangles that you're trying to find the middle section, or if you're trying to find this side, all you have to do is take this over the middle equals the middle over the other side. Next, to look at problem number 3 and problem 4. On problem 3, does anybody know what we call this where we don't have the side? We're missing a side. I don't have an angle though. We're going to use the Pythagorean theorem. If you recall, this is the one that Mr. Z had a great rap for. Remember, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So here to solve, remember the c squared part is always the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is the side that's opposite from your right angle. So here I'll have 5 squared plus 12 squared equals c squared. 5 squared is 25 plus 12 squared is 144 equals c squared. 25 plus 144 will give me 169 equals c squared. To solve, take the square root of both sides, so c is going to equal square root of 169, which is 13. Now to look at number 4. Number 4 is a 45, 45, 90 right triangle. Remember, we have a little bit of a trick for this one. So for a 45, 45, 90, I have the short side. Well, to get from the short side to the hypotenuse here, I'll take the short side times the square root of 2. So all I have to do here to find x, well, it's a 45, 45, 90 right triangle. The short side's 25, this long side, or the hypotenuse, is x, so it's just going to be x equals 25 times the square root of 2. You don't have to do any more work. That's all you need to do on that problem. Once you get it 25 square root of 2, you are finished. All right, to the back side now, number 5. On number 5, a baseball diamond is in the shape of a square, 90 feet on a side. This is the full regulation size of a professional baseball field. What is the direct distance from home plate to second base? So home plate to second base is what I'm looking at. That's my x. Again, if both sides are congruent, both angles are congruent, so they're 45, 45, there's my 90-degree angle. So how do I find x? Well, if the short side's 90, x is going to equal 90 times the square root of 2. Right? So 90 times the square root of 2. If I have a 45, 45, 90 right triangle, this is going to help you on your worksheet later. If I have a 45, 45, 90 right triangle and I have the long side, let's say it's 10, and I want to get to the short side, I need to take 10 times the square root of 2 over 2. So here the short side is 5 square root of 2. So divide by 2, square root of 2 just tags along. All right? So that'll be helpful when you get to working some of the problems here on your own. Next, number 6, we have a 30, 60, 90 right triangle. So find the value of each variable. Remember, use 30, 60, 90 right triangles. If we have a 30, 60, 90 right triangle, I have the short side. Well, to get to the long side equals the short side times the square root of 3. To get to the hypotenuse equals 2 times the short side. So here to find y, well first, what do I have? 8 here's the short side, so to find y, which is the hypotenuse, remember, hypotenuse is opposite from the 90-degree angle. To get to the hypotenuse, I'll just take 8 times 2, so y equals 16. Now to find x, Well, how did I go from the short side to the long side? I multiplied the short side by the square root of 3. The short side is 8, so to get x, it's going to be 8 times the square root of 3. If you're confused on those, that was section, I believe, 8.2 in your notes, 8.2 or 8.3. So if you have your notes, you want to get those out and look at those, that'd be fine. All right, for problems 7, 8, and 9, we're going to use our good old trig functions again, our sine, cosine, and tangent. Remember, we have SO, CA, TOA. Sine is the SO, that's opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine is the CA, which is adjacent over hypotenuse. And last but not least, tangent is the TOA, which is opposite over adjacent. Okay? So here's the angle I'm looking at. First label, there's my opposite, there's my adjacent, there's my hypotenuse. Well, I don't need the opposite side, so now from looking at this, I know I'm going to use the adjacent hypotenuse. Which one uses adjacent hypotenuse? Cosine. So I have the cosine now of the angle, which is 36, equals adjacent, which is y, over the hypotenuse, which is 10. To solve now, I need to multiply both sides by 10. My 10's cancel. So I have y equals 10 times the cosine of 36. So here y is going to equal, if you take that on your calculator to find the answer, remember you're going to push the cosine button. So y here is going to equal 8.09. If you rounded to 8.1, that's okay. So there's my answer for y on number 7. Remember this, all of these trig notes are in sections 8.4, sections 8.4 of your notes. All right, numbers 8 and 9 now. Leave our SOHCAHTOA up there on the board. So again, label, here's my opposite, there's my adjacent, there's the hypotenuse. Well, I don't use the hypotenuse this time, so I want to figure out which trig function uses the opposite and adjacent. So here it's going to be tangent. So I'm going to have the tangent of 24 equals the opposite, which is 8, over x. So now to solve this, what I can do is these two can exchange places. All right, so I have x equals 8 over the tangent of 24. So I take 8 divided by the tangent of 24, which is going to give me x equals 17.97, or if you round it to 18.0, that would be okay. All right, so that is number 8. And last but not least, number 9. Number 9 is a good one. On number 9 here, I'm looking for the angle measure. So on your calculator, you have that second or that shift button to give me the sine, the inverse, the cosine inverse, or the tangent inverse. You're going to need to use that button for these now. All right. So again, label what you have. So for my angle, there's the opposite, there's the adjacent, there's my hypotenuse. Well, not using my hypotenuse. Alright, so what uses opposite adjacent? Again, opposite adjacent is tangent. So I have the tangent of angle theta equals, opposite is 8 over 15. This is where you're going to hit that second button or shift button on your calculator. Then I'm going to use tangent. So after you hit that on your calculator, you're going to get angle theta equals 28.07 degrees. Hopefully this video was helpful in going through some of these. If you need to play back any problems because it was a little too fast or you need to see another problem again, please let the teacher know. Enjoy working on your worksheet. If you have any questions, try to ask each other and help each other out as much as possible. Someone be a leader and step up and help the class if you can. I look forward to seeing everybody back on Monday. Have a good weekend.